You're watching The Ryan Silverfield Show, presented by AutoZone.
Triple option on a Thursday, no problem for the Tigers, who start off conference play with the dub. We'll recap the game against Navy, sit down and discuss the importance of the program giving back, and look ahead to Mizzou in St. Louis. It's The Ryan Silverfield Show. Let's go.
The game is on.
The Ryan Silverfield Show is presented by AutoZone. When you've got car trouble, you want help from number one. So if you've got a battery problem, head to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. And by Conway Services, the official HVAC partner of Tiger Athletics. Chick-fil-A, we didn't invent chicken, just the chicken sandwich. RJ Young, technology solutions that power your business. Tennessee Lottery, turning dollars into dreams.
Short week, the triple option, no problem, and the Tigers are 3-0. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Woloshin.
And I'm Doc Holliday. Let's head to the highlights of the Tigers' big win over Navy.
The Tigers get a conference play started against Navy with a little help from Desmond Bain, the Grizzly star, serving as an honorary captain for this one. First Memphis drive was a beauty. They marched right down the field. Blake Watson stamps it with a 7-yard rushing score, his 4th touchdown of the season, 7-0 home team. Navy now up 14-7, final minute of the first half. Seth Hedigan, beautiful fade ball to Rock Taylor, who uses that big body to go up and get it. Tigers grab some momentum back, game tied at 14 at the break. First drive of the second half, Memphis at the Navy 1-yard line. Hedigan isn't quite Jalen Hurts, but he can still power across the plane on the QB sneak. Second straight game with a rushing TD for QB1. Memphis takes the lead back 21-14. Fourth quarter, Hedigan says, "Double me up." Fakes out the entire Navy defense, cruises into the end zone for his second score of the game. Memphis once again jumps back in front, 28-21. Here's where things get wild. Now a 28-24 game after a Navy field goal. Watson is that dude. Spins out of a tackle, hits the turbo button down the sideline. Going to be pushed out of bounds at the 1 after a 69-yard run. 237 scrimmage yards for Watson in the game. But that high turned low very quickly. Very next play, Tigers knocking on the door of the end zone, but Watson fumbles the exchange. Navy falls on it. An enormous swing of momentum. And how about one the other way? Navy started to get a drive cooking, but Simeon Blair just keeps making plays. Big hit, forces the fumble. Memphis scoops it up. They get it with just over 4 minutes left. Tigers tried to milk the clock, but on 3rd and 11, they're forced to throw. Hedigan looking for Demir Blankenship, but he's picked off by Rayan Lane. Return near midfield with just over 2 minutes left. Navy with a chance to drive for the win. The Tigers defense kept cool under pressure at the most critical time. 4th and 6 for Navy at the Memphis 15 with 14 seconds left. They complete the pass, originally ruled a first down, but after review, the runner clearly short. Turnover on downs, and that seals it. Tigers start conference play with a wacky 28-24 win over Navy. Here's Coach Silverfield after a thriller.
The word I've been using, you guys heard me use the last few months, is finish, and proud of the way we finished. There's a lot of things that could be fixed in that game, and we sure know it. But as I sit here now, and I'm going to go in reverse order, we're 1-0 in conference and 3-0 and found a way to win tonight. And that's something that we weren't able to do last year, is find ways to win games and finish. So proud of the guys' effort. Tremendous crowd. I mean, that student section, once again, phenomenal. And so that can't be understated how great the students were. Proud of that and all the fans that showed up. So tremendous atmosphere. Great night to showcase our city, our team, and our program on national television. I'm glad we came out with a win. A lot of things to be cleaned up with tackling, especially in the first half, were not good enough. And it's one of those things you sit there and look at. The 2 previous weeks, very clean in our tackling. But tonight was not what we need to be and not our standard.
So now we've seen a bunch of portal folks, a bunch of newcomers. They've all gelled together. Which are the ones that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I think that's one of the unique things, right? We're just so used to saying, okay, what freshmen play? Now all of a sudden it's what junior college players, what transfers do we get to see out on the field? And some of them our fans got to see this spring, and then a lot of them were just new faces, and all of a sudden they rolled out for that first game and have had some success. But, you know, I think you go look at what Simeon Blair's been able to do and what he means to this team, right? A guy that was named captain after being here for 4 months by his teammates. I mean, I think that's a huge amount of respect for how they feel, one, the type of young man he is, but two, the way he can play football. And he's done a fantastic job so far this season. You know, you look at a guy like Chandler Martin making a lot of big plays there at the linebacker position, Josh Ellison, plus a lot of those other guys. And let's not just talk about transfers, let's talk about freshmen. Jara Anderson is a true freshman getting playing time on the defensive line, one of our only true freshmen that we're actually seeing on the field. Now let's move over to offense, right? We know the success that Blake Watson's having at running back. Been quite pleased with him, the transfer running back from ODU, right? Back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher there, coming here, having some good success for us. Demir Blankupsey, the wide receiver. Toski Dove with some early touchdowns. So it's been pleasing. A lot of new faces, but they're out there going and producing.
And talking about those new faces, I know coming out of the spring, you had some that you were counting on. Has any of them like elevated what you thought that they were going to do and how they were going to produce?
You know, Blake Watson was one of those guys who was a little bit banged up in the spring, so we really didn't know what we had. You were able to watch some of his film and going out there and seeing what he's capable of doing. And then, you know, Chandler Martin, right? He was learning the system as a linebacker, kind of getting a feel for it. And then you all of a sudden unleash him on Saturdays and you're like, whoa, this guy can play football. So I've been quite pleased with him. But really, you know, like I've said all along, some of these guys you bring in transfers, everybody expects them to start immediately, right? Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, right? A guy like Xavier Hill, right? He was a rotational guy most of the spring, even through training camp. Hey, can he get the nod? And now he's starting at right tackle. So we've been pleased with his development, right? There'll be some other guys that we're going to show up. We're going to say, wow, I forgot they added him.
That's where I want to go. A lot of times there are late bloomers that finally catch on, can make their way up. Give me a couple of possible names, especially offensive linemen, that you might be inserting in the later stages of this year.
Yeah, you know, Xavier Hill was one of those guys that, you know, once you learn a system, right, you get here, you can have all the physical traits, but it takes a little bit to learn and understand what we're doing schematically. So he was a prime example of a guy that used all the way up until training camp, and really the week before the game, before we decided he was capable of being a starter. We knew what he had the ability to do. You know, another guy like Colin Montgomery, the transfer offensive lineman from Oklahoma, like we want to stay healthy up front, but I think as he continues to grow and develop, I think he has a chance to do some really good things. We have a freshman named Malachi Braylon, an offensive lineman that's doing some really good things. It's also been able to travel with us. I think he's a game down the road, maybe this season. If not, you know, next year we're expecting high expectations for him and a lot of good things. And then, you know, we'll kind of continue to look and see what happens. I think the rotation at wide receivers, you guys got to see Brennan Doyle, Jamari Chisholm going at tight end, some newcomers from the junior college route. So it'll be interesting to see as the season goes on. We want to stay healthy, we want to stay well, but let's see if some of those late bloomers can help us in certain aspects of our game.
Now it's time for an inside look with Tigers offensive line coach Jeff Myers.
Good. Now, hey, you feel like you're really cranking on that backside arm? Yeah. Just keep pushing, okay, to work that guard off. Be about it today. Be about it today. The whole practice got to be about it. Pull them tight, eyes up. Good. On my insteps. Ready. Good. Throw your hands, Tim. Ready. Good. That's what you got to feel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, next two. Go get the hips out. You feel like it was 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 with your feet? Yeah. Okay. Now just keep them tight, get them out. All right, but your hips got to get unloaded to get him down. All right. If I stand here and I don't get those things back out of there, he's going to just keep cranking me back. All right, here we go.
The entire team took a trip recently to brighten some kids' days. We'll discuss the importance of that visit coming up next.
You're watching The Ryan Silverfield Show, presented by AutoZone.
Welcome back to The Ryan Silverfield Show. The Tigers are involved throughout the Mid-South in giving back to the community. That includes a trip to Labonte recently where they put a smile on some kids' faces.
On this day, every member of the Tigers program comes together for a trip to Labonte Children's Hospital to put a smile on kids' faces.
It was great. You know, Jacob Likes and I, we go to Labonte every Monday, or we did last year. We went to Labonte every Monday. and we did the game show, which is basically like it's live on TV across the whole entire hospital, and we like do some funny things, or we play hangman and people call in, and then after that we go and give the kids prizes, whoever wins the game show or whatever for the day. So just having the whole team go to Le Bonheur was a good experience. We got to see some kids, and they got a new room for their game show. So I'm sure we'll be in that a lot this year too. But you know, it's a place that I've spent a good amount of hours in, just trying to give back to the community. So it was a good time out there.
Oh, it was amazing. You know, one thing about me, I love kids, and especially kids that have it harder, so much harder than, you know, my everyday life. It's just amazing the impact and the smiles that you have on these kids' faces, just seeing us, because I'm a regular dude to me, but to them, I'm a superstar, you know, and everything else, and just able to shine my brightness and my love light on them, amazing.
Why is that a cause that hits home for you?
Mondays are kind of our off day, so whenever I get time off, you know, during the season especially, we're so busy. So, you know, we're not practicing that day. Might as well get back to the community. And so Jacob and I know Jalen Allen and a couple other guys, we all try and give back. And that's kind of one that comes up over and over because it's every single Monday. They want us to come there and they want us to help out, and the kids like it there. So we just kind of try and go there and pour back.
I always knew I had a passion for kids. You know, I have 4 younger brothers, so I always had to be that example for them. I always had to be that role model. So I wasn't really an adjustment, but it was an adjustment just, you know, doing it in front of so many people.
For a group of men that pour their lives into the sport they love, whose mood is often determined by 60 minutes between the white lines, a trip like this offers something valuable that starts with a P.
Puts life in perspective, you know? It puts life in perspective every day when you start thinking to yourself, man, I'm a little tired because I didn't go to bed till 12 o'clock and I had to wake up at 5 this morning. Like, you know, deal with it, Crams. It really ain't that bad. You know, when you go out there and you see a 6-year-old kid fighting what he's fighting, or a 12-year-old kid fighting what they're fighting. So it puts life in perspective, and it kind of, it's great to, everyone says that's great for the kids. They can get to meet the Memphis Tiger players, and they get to meet the Memphis Tiger coaches. You know what? That's great for us. It's great for us as coaches. It's great for us as players. It really, truly puts life in perspective what, 1, those patients go through, and 2, the nurses and the doctors over there, what they do for us. Those are the real heroes. We're just guys that get to go out and play a game on Saturday nights.
You know, it really puts things in perspective. You know, I have a 3-year-old myself, and we actually took him to Le Bonheur at one point to get something cleared up. So it's great for our guys to see that, and you know, again, just really puts things in perspective, how lucky we are to come in here and do what we do. It can feel like a grind, you know, it can feel like you're at work. And when you see what a grind really is and what adversity really looks like, boy, it didn't look like anything like helmet and shoulder pads, you know, so we're very fortunate to do what we do.
You know, I recommend everyone to go to a place like Le Bonheur, because it really is eye-opening for you. Like, I'm after a game, I'm like, man, like my knee's all banged up, and then I go visit these kids, I'm like, why am I complaining? You know, like, there's no reason for me to complain. It's like, and so then all my effort just goes to trying to make them happy, trying to put a smile on their face, trying to make their day. And you don't ever think about your problems anymore because they're so tiny compared to everything else going on in the world.
You feel a sense of, I don't know if obligation is the right word, but obviously, like, you're lucky to be in the position you're in, like, to use the platform that you have to give back and use that for good in that way?
You have to. You have to give back to the people who really deserve the rights and sometimes don't get the, don't get the recognition for that. Again, what are we doing? We're playing the game. That's what we're doing. Let's keep it in perspective. You know, my wife always laughs at me because these guys like Seth and these guys, guys that she meets, they're big names and people in the neighborhood love these guys. And then when you get to meet them, they're just normal kids. They're 18 to 22-year-old kids who have to go to algebra class and have to go to write a paper and, learning life, but that's who we are. We're on the stage and we have to be able to use that platform to help other people's lives better.
Coach, I know during fall camp you and your staff and all the guys went to Le Bonheur. But I think from the beginning of your tenure, you've always been big on service in the community.
Yeah, I think it's so important, right? We're in this great city, and there's so many things that we can give back. We're so fortunate, right, to be part of this University of Memphis, right, this great city, and our football program. We're so fortunate to be where we're at. Let us find a way to give back, and that's been huge. We have a lady named Lauren Hellman, who's our Director of Player Relations. She does a phenomenal job in the community outreach, right? We've had a great partnership with Le Bonheur, plus so many other organizations, youth villages. I mean, you can name it, and our guys have been there and found ways to give back to this community.
Talking about those visits, because I've been a part of those visits, a lot of times players are going there thinking that, you know, that you're uplifting the patients and the young people that you're seeing, they end up uplifting you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's one of those things we share with our guys, Doc. Like, we go and some of our guys, you know, a little bit, right? 18, 23-year-olds, what do we got to do now? And then they come back and like, that was phenomenal. That made a difference in my life. That changed, that made my day better. And I always say this, right? When you give back, you feel a lot better about yourself, and it's the least we can do. And so many of our young men go and they do it the first time, and they say, when can we go back? How can we give more of ourselves? How can we give to this great community? And you're exactly right. You give and you feel a lot better.
So you go there, you feel it. Do you then talk about the experience afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important, Dave. That one of those things we do is we're not just a bunch of football players, hey, just checking boxes. We did some community service. We talk about all the things that we do, right? How did it make you feel? What did you get from it? Especially during training camp. A lot of that's building the camaraderie, getting a feel for their team and their teammates, and those are things we discuss, and it's amazing the impact that the community outreach, what we're able to do, has on our guys.
And talking about Le Bonheur, why is that place so special? Because football players, Memphis, you all go to a lot of different places, but what makes Le Bonheur so special?
Yeah, look, a world-renowned hospital that helps make the difference in children's lives. I mean, you think about that. They truly make a difference. And it's not only phenomenal what they do, but in our city and all the people that they've been able to affect and touch in a positive manner. And that's just so wonderful. It's such a special thing. And we've been fortunate to have a great relationship. Anybody that ever watches on game day, except for when we're wearing those big jackets, I always have that Le Bonheur pen right on my chest. And I think that's important. It's just one of those ways to let those children know we're constantly thinking about them and their families.
A 4-hour trip up I-55 and an SEC opponent awaits the Tigers. We'll preview Mizzou coming up next.
You're watching The Ryan Silverfield Show, presented by AutoZone. Let's take a look at the AutoZone road ahead.
Missouri in St. Louis, and I guess it's going to be a long trip for all of us. The game's at 6:30.
Yeah, look, excited. Obviously, it's the next game, but opponent, the SEC, neutral site game in St. Louis. We tried to get them to come here. They didn't want that. That's okay. Now, the last time we played in Missouri, it wasn't pretty. Hopefully, we're looking for a different outcome. But the chance to play a SEC opponent, national television, in an old NFL stadium, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And talk about the differences. People know you approach every game and you put a lot of emphasis on it. But when it's the big SEC, when it's one of those teams, as a player, I know for a fact you put a lot more emphasis on a game like this.
Yeah, let's be called what it is. Our guys will be hyped. You know, they'll be lit, as they like to call it. They'll be ready to go out there and play. And I think playing in one of those atmospheres, I mean, they've seen Isaac Bruce, the greatest show on turf, what he was able to do in that stadium. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of those great Rams teams that came through there. And then we have the opportunity to go play an SEC team. I think our guys will be fired up and ready to go.
That was tonight's AutoZone Road Ahead. AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination and official sponsor of Tiger Athletics. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Tigers fans love going to St. Louis, and they're going to have plenty of time to enjoy it. We're back with a wrap in just a minute.
You're watching The Ryan Silverfield Show, presented by AutoZone.
Thanks for staying up late night with us. We'll see you again next Sunday night.
The Ryan Silverfield Show is presented by AutoZone. When you've got car trouble, you want help from #1. So if you've got a battery problem, head to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone. And by Conway Services, the official HVAC partner of Tiger Athletics. Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent chicken, just the chicken sandwich. R.J. Young. Technology solutions that power your business. Tennessee Lottery, turning dollars into dreams. This copyrighted telecast is an exclusive presentation of Silverfield under the broadcasting rights granted by the University of Memphis. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the expressed written consent of the University of Memphis and Silverfield.